Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of hang on a minute, there's a fucking cat in here. I'm having none of that. ladies, ladies,
Zoomer, like,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the RGM Experience podcast with me, Carl Maloney. How are you doing? You all right? I've got my new studio all set up and it's nice. I'm enjoying it. I've put some boarding up. I've done DIY and it's not fell down. Which is the main thing. But anyway, welcome to the RGM Experience podcast, a podcast where we delve into the grassroots music industry and beyond, and find interesting people within it. And I think I found another one of those people, ladies and gentlemen. Tom from the Kairos. Hi, mate.
hi, pal. I wouldn't go that far, but
Fair enough. How are you doing? Where do we find you today? In your
I
sunglasses
mean,
inside, you prick.
I'm in my house. I have got my sunglasses on because I've just walked the dog. I've been out. I didn't
Okay.
realize it's about 20 degrees heat, but I've literally just walked in. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's sunglasses indoors for this one.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, mate. We don't often get nice weather, do we? Particularly in the last couple of weeks. It just feels like it's been pissing it down. I need to cut the grass, and I've not been able to for nearly a month, pal. So that's
Well,
old
you
people.
want to get on, you want to get on top of that, car, mate.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're right.
Once it starts growing,
Yeah,
game over.
I've been told. Have you got much experience with cutting
Well,
grass?
yeah, look at my haircut. This is the same
Oh,
principle, lad.
right.
When you keep letting it go
Yeah.
and
Okay.
you never tend to it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, it looks nice anyway, mate. It's nice mopper hair you've got there, pal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. It looks a bit like curtains at the minute, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to live with it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm really interested in getting to know you a little bit, Tom. I've obviously seen the band all over socials, that kind of stuff, and I see how much you're grafting. So when I see a band grafting, I want to have a chat with them and find out a little bit about them. So
Nice one,
welcome to the
Carl.
show, mate. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
Never
you
see you
too, pal.
before.
We were just saying before, weren't we, that it feels like we do all these things. I do RGM stuff, and it can feel like you're just shouting into a big void of nothingness, can't you? Sometimes on the social
Nah,
in a band or doing RGM, it's a hard slog always. It never gets easier, does it?
love of the game, mate. You just do it because you love it, I suppose. Because if you don't love it and it does end up falling on deaf ears, it can be quite disheartening. So,
Yeah.
but thankfully, we're in quite a lucky position ourselves where we do receive a lot of support and we do see the benefit of what we're doing. Like you just said yourself, you've seen the graph. So it's been a slow turning wheel, but sure enough, it's paying off. And I think that goes for your page as well because I've been all over your page for months myself.
Yeah, well, thanks for tuning in. It's always appreciated. It feels like nobody's. At times, it feels like nobody gives a shit, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
but
can
people
do.
are aware of the graph. People do see it. So there's definitely a benefit of just keep going until fake it till you make it, and just keep doing everything you can. Speak to new people, introduce yourself to new people, and just keep doing what you can to survive and stay out there. Really, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
That's it. Well, yeah, you're right because you can call it surviving, but
Yeah.
as long as it stays fun and as long as you
Yeah.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
it's so far removed from survival or like remaining in the spotlight because like I said, you're just doing it for the love of it, and that's what we do anyway.
Yeah. So how was it for you lads from Liverpool growing up before you got into the band? What was life like for you growing up as a kid from Liverpool?
Well, like most of us in the band, like we were all like footy mad, like we all played in like football teams through like primary school and stuff. But music was a massive part of my life growing up anyway, because my mum and dad are a pair of hippies and they used to go to Glastonbury every year. And as I got older and older and I started watching it on the telly, it'd always be like a thing, like I'd be begging them to go. And it was always, we'll take you when you're 13. When you're 13, we'll get you your first ticket. And I got my first ticket for Christmas when I was 13. And I went and watched Kasabian, Arcade Fire, Black Keys, and I come away from that festival and I decided that I was going to learn the guitar. So all my interest went from footy. As much as I love Everton and going to football now, I don't play it, but I all went from footy to learning four chords on guitar and just thinking I'm going to make something of this. And that was back when I was 13. And I think the other lads are pretty similar, bar bar Lewis, who I met at college when I was about 18, and he'd never ever thought of picking up an instrument in his life, and he picked up the guitar like that, and he's only been playing for about, I think it's like 5 years now, and he's just learned like that because he fucking loves it. Like he doesn't ever put the guitar down. But apart, as far as I'm aware, like very similar. What's it called? Like interest in music and points in interest, where like it all got introduced to us.
Yeah, were there no instruments around the house then before you were 13?
I mean, my dad had started learning guitar when I was quite young, but there was no guitar in the house. And then when I decided when I come back from Glastonbury, I was going to start learning guitar. I think my dad went to a second-hand music shop in Southport and picked out this. He wouldn't have anything but blue. It had to be blue. It
Okay.
was a blue acoustic guitar because anything aside from blue in the house, no one was interested in. So it was
Okay.
this blue acoustic. I think it cost them about 25 quid. And the first song I learned on it was um, Fire by Kasabian because I'd seen it at Glasgow and it just blew my head off. So that's how I got started in music anyway, but no, nothing in the house.
Did you ever go down the route of like learning chromatic scales and that kind of stuff and reading music, or did you just learn bands that you liked?
No, never reading music. But what one thing I did learn in terms of chromatics, like the chromatic scale was very important in learning, like the top E string
Mm.
all the way from open E right down to the 12th fret, and you're obviously up the octave. Then that's probably the only bit of theory I've been able to put to like use because it's helped me learn like my bar chords and everything up the neck of the guitar. But as for reading music and theoretical business, Sam's good. Sam's good with the theory. He was in like Sefton wind orchestra and shit like that, so he can read music. As for me, Owen and Lewis, it was a case of going to gigs or listening to new music on Spotify and just learning songs off like Marty Schwartz on YouTube and like just sometimes even learning by ear. That was where the majority of our musical IQ came from, was covers.
So do you like do you know what key certain songs are in and all that shit?
But yeah, by learning the song, yeah, yeah.
Okay, right, okay. There you go.
To name out of that.
So yeah, this one's in G. It makes you look posh, I suppose, doesn't it? Knowing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just a facade. I mean, as long as you know what key you're in, you can't really lose, especially if like you're a lead guitarist or something
Yeah,
melodically.
yeah.
Um, I just call it the home chord, to be honest.
Nice, nice. So it was all football then before music. So I was in Liverpool the other day. I did the traditional boat down the Mersey thing. Went past
Very
the
fascinating.
went past the new Everton ground. That looks nice. That must be something to look forward to.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't fucking fall into the Mersey, mate, it should be all right, shouldn't it? Or it gets swallowed up by like a sandhole or something. Like you just don't know. Being an Everton fan, like you don't know what is actually going to happen. Honestly, it could blow away in the wind for all I know.
Well,
Like,
mate, I'm a Sheffield United fan, so you've not had it that bad. You've been in Premier League for fucking all your lives. We're just been, we drop bollocks for 5 years and it's proper shit down here.
you had a good 6 months though, didn't you? It was fast
We did
paced. So
like 6 months, mate. We did.
no one really interested in that no more though, are they?
No, they're not. No, they're not. It soon changes, doesn't it? It soon changes.
Who come back? Was it Chris?
It's Wilder.
Chris Wilder. That's right. He come back, didn't he? Oh well.
No threat, no threat. So cynical Everton fan then. You've got a brand new ground that you're going to enjoy, and hope it doesn't sink into the sea. It won't do, will it? Surely they've thought about that.
No, well, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you? You'd
Okay.
like to think so, but who knows what Farad Mosseri's thinking? He's away with the fairies, that guy.
Yeah,
Who knows? I'm not wasting any sleep or energy over whether the football stadium actually gets put up properly.
yeah,
I'll
fair.
just enjoy my last season in Goodison.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed. I always enjoyed Liverpool as a city. I've done all the tourist stuff. I've done all the pub stuff. I've been to loads of gigs in Liverpool. Obviously, the music history is there. You don't have to mention that big band that came from there. That's all been talked about
Oh,
before. Oh,
Blair.
I'm gonna say somebody else, then I'm gonna say Echo and the Bunnymen or something. No, obviously the Beatles and the does that still like hang over Liverpool too much? Do you think the whole Beatles thing?
No, I don't think so. More than anything, it's become a thing where it's like
Yeah.
it's probably uncool to like the Beatles or at least
Yeah.
take inspiration from them. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, it's there and people are proud of it. Like, obviously, you'll know that Scousers are probably the proudest people for
Mm.
miles, especially in the Northwest. But I don't know. I think the Beatles thing, it doesn't really, there's no negative connotation that's attached itself to it, so to speak. But as for a shadow cast over the music scene, it's too um, fertile of a music scene, and you know, um, I don't want to say oversaturated because the more bands there are, the better. But there is such a diverse mixing pot of bands and artists in Liverpool, and I have been to other cities, and the only one really for me in comparison is London, because London obviously massive cultural mixing pot and um, stuff going on with music there. But as for other places and other cities, I don't think they've quite got the depth in music and creativity that Liverpool does, and I think that is something to be proud of, if anything.
And why do you think Liverpool has that?
I really don't know, to be honest. I think it's just ingrained into its DNA, where it's just full of creative people, and no one's not out of competition or anything, but especially originality is just right through the city. Like, no one's doing the same thing. There's always someone doing something different. There's a different style of music, and if there's another rising genre of music, Liverpool's always first to meet the curve. Do you know what I mean? I've always found anyway.
Yeah, so I'd class like the Kairos as a bit of a rock and roll type band. Where did you start to get your music influences from and go down that route?
Probably just the indie rock giants that you could probably name off the dome. That the likes of Oasis, Arctic Monkeys, the Roses. There's a lot of other bands as well. Like, I know Lewis takes a lot of inspiration from David Gilmour. Pink Floyd are probably my favourite band ever. Not that I'd ever dream of writing a song that even comes close to any what they can do.
You never
But well, you never know. I might one day get really bored and then just sit there and take a load of mushrooms and write 30 minutes of waffle. But no, I just think, we listen to a lot of music. I mean, I could show you here now. Like, that's my record collection. Like, I've got everything. I've got everything from hip hop to old 70s Dylan records, and I've just listened to everything. And in terms of inspiration and stuff like that, like, nothing ever really comes consciously. It's not like I pick an artist and go, I'm gonna write like him today or whatever. I think it just becomes part of your DNA, and it's ingrained in your writing, I suppose, and how you put a song together.
Yeah. So how do you go about putting a song together, and how did you work it out?
What do you mean? How did I work it out?
Well, just the first time you wrote a song, how did you go about it? Or did you know it just needs to have a chorus, it needs to have a verse? Did you
Yeah,
did you come
yeah.
at it from a different angle, or did you just go for the standard?
I think the first song I did write was about 8 minutes long, to be honest, and it had
Yeah. Okay.
trumpets and
Yeah.
backing choir vocals and shit like that. But very early, I do remember, like, especially in hindsight, like, I would use bands like Catfish and Oasis and Arctic Monkeys as almost like a comfort blanket, because writing when you're 16 and releasing music when you're 16, 17 is a really, like, vulnerable place to be in at that age. And it's by no means like vulnerable as in like dangerous or scathing or anything. It's just you realize what you're putting out there, so you fall back on how other bands did things a lot of the time. And I think that's a healthy way to start, because a lot of people get so hung up with trying to be creative and stuff. But over time, the more I found that I was copying off other artists, I was picking up everything good they did, and like what kind of verse length they were going for and how they wrote the chorus and how they wrote melody. And over time, I'd like to think that we come up with our own thing, even though it's probably reminiscent of like indie rock giants and how they used to write songs because it's definitely what we're trying to go for. But I'd say like using bigger bands as like a comfort blanket, especially early on, played a massive part in my songwriting. Definitely.
So you took influence from Catfish in the Bottle, man. Oh dear.
Do you not like Catfish? No.
Can't stand them. Yeah, I've just never got into them. Can't do it. I've tried, gave it a good go.
Oh.
Just can't personally. It's just not for me.
Well, no, to be fair, I do know people who, they will swear blind that they're the most beige band that have come in the last like 20 years. But I can, music's subjective. I can see
Yeah.
that with the whole, with the three albums being near on identical and stuff like that. But on a musician's level, me and Lewis have spoke loads about Catfish because just the songwriting for me is really clever, really well balanced, and it always feels like a really even song. And then obviously the guitar playing and all the rest of it's quite clever. But if you think the shit car, the shit, aren't they?
It's each to their own, isn't it? I won't say shit because you've got to respect people, aren't you? But I would say it just didn't musically grab me. It didn't. I like a band to fuck me up and alter me somehow. You know what I mean?
Like who?
So, well, Oasis were my band when I was a kid. I can remember receiving a tape with Shaker Maker on it or whatever, or Supersonic, whatever it were, one of the first singles, and that fucking
Oh,
changed my life. You know, when you get and I'm going back into tapes, mate. I was handed a
yeah,
tape, and
it's me.
that's what we had. And that changed my life. And when you're young and you like something that much, and you start going to the gigs, and you start traveling to see them all over the world with lads, it's a powerful thing, isn't it? When you find something you love,
Yeah.
it changes your
I
life.
love hearing about it all, lads. I love hearing me half fella tell me stories about when he used to go and watch Pink Floyd. He went to Rotterdam to watch Pink Floyd in the 80s and similar thing. Like once you start buying the t-shirt, the album, you're traveling to see them, like you're saying, it's like you all of a sudden become part of it, don't you? Like
Yeah.
you become part of this thing. And I'd really love for us to replicate something like that, to be honest. I think that's always been the ambition, is to just have this organic group of people, whether it be a cult fan base or hundreds of thousands of people just like in love with the band as much as we are.
What were the first thing that you were past that affected you in a weird way, like music?
As a music,
Yeah, yeah. Who turned you onto a tune? I presume it was streamed.
oh, fucking hell. Well, I remember the first show I went to was Mumford and Sons in the MEN
Hmm.
for my 10th birthday. That was before I'd even gone to Glastonbury. But in terms of something I was given, I'd go with I'd say it was the 20 quid that my mother gave me to go and buy that for the first
Oh,
time when
that's
I
it.
first got.
Yeah.
That's the first vinyl I ever bought when I first got my record player.
So that's the remastered one because it's got the white border around it. I'm a bit.
Yeah,
So I've got that.
and it sounded fucking amazing.
I think I had the original one and it got chucked about that much. So it's knackered, but
Yeah, but I love that. When something's like slightly relicked and like it looks like it's lived. I love that.
yeah. So if people listening on the audio version of the podcast, he's just showing us definitely maybe. Liam's back out on tour again. Did you get involved with with Liam Gallagher coming back on his own?
I didn't manage to get tickets now, but I have. I've seen him a fair few times over the years. He's been back and he blows me away every time. He's just the set list and what he's able to put together in terms of an atmosphere is unmatched. And loads of people do tend to pitch it his solo thing against Noel's solo thing, don't they? But it is unmatched in terms of atmosphere. So I am a bit gutted to miss out on the Manchester shows.
I can't bring myself to go and watch him on his own.
Gallagher, Liam.
Because I've just watched him all these years with Oasis. I want to see him with Noel again, and apparently it's going to happen next year. I've heard rumors, but hopefully it does, and then I'll be all over him and his brother back together. Fucking imagine that. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be loads of coin in it. I've just bought tickets for Paul McCartney at Co-op today this morning.
Was
100,
that on for pre-sale?
yeah, on the pre-sale at 145 bastard quid. So imagine how much Oasis are going to charge for theirs.
They might as well be playing on the moon. How much they're going to charge? I mean, I don't know. I know that the whole thing behind them doing like the Oasis tunes at the shows and stuff is because there is a generation of people like
Yeah,
myself and
yeah,
like me and my
yeah,
mates who never got to see them. And as far as I'm aware, from what I've been told, like especially with the atmosphere and stuff, it's as near as seeing Oasis as we're ever going to get if the rumours aren't true. But yeah, as for Paul McCartney, like he's one of the last living like golden legends that you can buy a ticket and go and watch live.
I had to get it. You know, seeing it, it could be one of his. It's a fucking Beatle. I just have to go, and it could be one of his last gigs. I don't know. He's knocking on, isn't
Well, I thought it was going to be the pyramid stage, and me and my mum and my half fella were all in fucking tears watching him
he?
because we thought that was his last ever show on the pyramid. I thought I'm watching a Beatle play the pyramid stage. Like, there's nothing more like mythological than that to me in music as a Beatle on the pyramid stage.
Definitely, definitely. So talk us. Let's rewind a little bit again. Then, how did the Kairos come together, then, mate? Tell us about all that.
Well, I met Sam, the drummer, at a sort of open evening for a sixth form college in Liverpool called Lipper, and it's a music and arts college. And I met him there, and there was this little like introduction section where you have to stand up and say who your favourite artist was. And I think I stood up and said Oasis, and he stood up and said Kasabian, and we were the only two in the room who picked it like uh, indie rock style bands. Like everyone else was a bit more avant garde or left field. Sorry. And when I heard him say Kasabian, I was like, right, I'm gonna go sit with that kid. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna go have a word with him. And I was looking to be in a band at this point because I knew a rhythm guitarist, and we was looking to start one. And got talking to him, texted him when I got home, and he weren't interested at all. He was in another band, so I was like, oh, "Fuck you, then you square-headed prick. I'll go find another band." And then months later, he comes crying back to me and he's like, listen, let's start this group. I love your ideas. I think you've got it. Do you know what I mean? We started this group and went through different members, but me and Sam remained in the band from around 2016. And then
Oh,
I got,
always call the Kairos back then, or different names or anything like
yeah, always called the Kairos. We couldn't think of anything else better. Sorry. It was a crap name, but it is what it is. And then met Owen through playing football. He was playing in another team that my uncle was coaching. And we were looking for a bassist at the time, and he'd only been playing bass for a year. And similar to me, he'd gone to watch the Stone Roses at the Etihad when they got back together, and that what made him want to pick up an instrument.
that.
And then I met, like I told you before, I met Lewis in college, and I remember being sat with Lewis because he was in all my lessons. He picked all the same subjects as me. And on my free period, I'd disappear like no one would know where I'd go. And I'd be going to the music room to go and mess about on guitar for 2 hours. And one day he went to me, he's like, where the fuck are you going? Like, are you going to like pick your toenails or something in like the back room? And I went, no, I'm going to play guitar in the music room. I went, right, well, let me come with you. Oh, say, like, I've got this fucking late now and he's with me and I can't have whatever. He sits down and goes, right, I want you to teach me. And I went, are you sure, sir? And he was like, yeah, teach me. But I can't remember whether it was Wonderwall or it was Hey Jude or it was some big guitar tune that you learn, like one of the first songs you learn. And he learned it. And then within 6 months, he was better than me by a fucking mile. He was one of the best guitarists I've ever seen play.
That annoy you a little bit?
No, not really. I think he's quality, maybe a little bit,
Maybe.
but nah, he's good. He's really good.
You mentioned one little thing there before you settled on the current lineup that a few people came and went with the band. What happened there then? Were they just not the right fit for you or for that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think especially me and Sam have known where we've wanted to take the band in terms of ambition for a long, long time, pretty much from its genesis. And some people they just weren't as interested in us maybe, and then wanted to start other groups and other projects, which everything ended amicably, to be honest. Not fell out with anyone. Um, and yeah, all happy accidents, to be honest, because we've ended up with, the band as we see it is like, that is it now. Like, we're in this for the long run. And we've all openly admitted that we couldn't imagine anyone else being in the group now, which is exactly the type of band I want to be in.
It is really hard because I've been in bands through the years. We went through about 10 drummers, I think, and finding the right person to share your ambition and to be as invested in your music as what you are. It's quite rare to settle quite quick in a lineup, and it feels like you guys have done that.
Now like I said, we're very lucky because we've only been through. So you got the four members now, and then two people who bass and guitar, and that was it. We very much a episode of happy accidents, I'd say, definitely.
Well, let's find out a little bit more about the other lads that couldn't join us today. So go through, introduce us to the other members of the band and tell us one strength about them and one weakness about them.
Oh, fucking hell.
Good in that, innit?
This is my favourite bit. This. Oh, I could go on for hours. How long have you got?
So as long as you need, mate.
Oh. So you got Sam Bradley, who's the drummer, and he's been in the band the longest with me. I'm strength. Nobody's fucking listening. I'd say he's been labelled as a human metronome by our close friends and family and people who come to shows because he is, in my opinion, the best drummer far and wide for a long, long way. I'm just happy he decided to stay in this band. But as for a weakness, he's a gobshite. He can't keep his trap shut. He's just no, it's all in good jest. But Owen Forrester, he's the bassist. I think his biggest strength is the fact he's just locked in mentally. Like, especially when it comes to a show, he's probably the most cool, calm, and collected when it comes to nerves and stuff. And, nothing's ever too deep with Owen. Weaknesses, I'll probably say the same thing. That's where the lyric from Lazy Lethargic comes from. He's so laid back, he could fall over. So I'd say that's his weakness. Chambers, his strength is the fact that he's a perfectionist and he throws a little tantrum if he gets anything wrong, which is a good thing, especially if you're a lead guitarist as good as him. As for a weakness, he's a cop-out. In fact, they're all cop-outs. If I put that as all three weaknesses, the cop-outs.
And what's your strength and what's your weakness then?
My strength, I'd like to say, is my patience.
All right.
Very patient. I think, like you were saying before about this game we're in, I think you've got to be patient.
Yeah.
Which goes for the other lads as well. Like we're all we're all in it for the long thing, and we know what it's going to say. As for the weakness, I think I'm a massive control freak.
Okay.
Big time. I hate that I'm a control freak. I hate that I've got to have it all me ducks in a line type thing. Otherwise, I just lose my head.
There's got to be one of them in a band that's going for it. There's got to be one person like that, though, aren't there? Yeah?
Someone's got to do it, Carl.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it, mate. Someone's got to do all the hard work, eh? But as a singer,
Someone's got to stress the poor people.
as a singer, do you carry your own stuff and that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. Just double checking.
Put me weight, Carl.
Yeah, you pull your weight. Good luck.
I'm out there changing the stereotype of singers day by day.
Yeah. Just carrying amps and stuff like that, not getting off first or
No.
getting away with murder.
I mean, the others, you'd have to ask the others, but I'm selling it now.
Okay, mate. Okay, brilliant. So so the Kairos, you're on a bit of a journey. When did you feel like things were starting to go your way? Because obviously you got some big shows ahead. It's festival season, some massive shows that I've seen all over your socials today. You could tell me about those in a bit, but when did you first start feeling like, hey, old lads, we're on here?
Good question. I mean, we slogged it before COVID, before we went into a pandemic and lockdown and all the rest of it. We definitely slogged it, but there was no real, we hadn't really built any momentum. But as soon as we come back, we took the 2 years out and didn't rush to come back in. We planned a big relaunch and a big catalogue of songs, and we've done all the writing in the 2 years so that we had this firepower to come back with. And as soon as we come back, we planned out our next 2 years all the way from the comeback single, which was Round the Bends, to the headline, to festival season, and just making the headlines bigger and bigger and bigger. And we picked the venues. We picked every single venue 2 years in advance, and we sold them all out. And the last one was Hanger just over a year ago. And then I think when we brought out that EP record and we played Hanger to our hometown crowds, which was 800 capacity sold out, and to see a room move and the volume of that room on the night was everything we'd ever started the band to make. And there was moments of that night that I'll never ever forget. And I know the lads are the same. And moments that will stick with me, like looking at Lewis and just being like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like there's pints going flying, and that goes from me watching gigs of Oasis on YouTube and seeing pints getting launched and being at gigs and crowds just surging forward and shit like that. And that was happening in a room while we were on stage, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And we all went out after, and we had this big after party. But then there was obviously the load and the shit back up in the room, like the guitars and amps. Just this little bubble in like the maddest night where everything went deathly silent, and it was just us four again, and we all just had to sit there and talk about what had happened over the last like 2 hours, and take it all in. I'd say that paired with the EP release, which was the night before that show, probably the realization that we were onto something good, definitely.
So you mentioned the plan, the 2 year plan after COVID and shit. So what, like, you made it sound like you just sold out an 800 capacity venue there. What part of the plan allowed you to be able to book those size of venues? What
Well, we
part of the
didn't.
plan helped you progress that quick?
Well, I think we thing is we didn't book them venues 2 years in advance. That's not what I meant. I just meant there was
Oh,
this stepping stone plan of
yeah,
like, first we're going to do this goal. Once that, say that was the comeback single and HBTV's Basements, which was
great.
250 cap.
Oh, yeah.
Once that goal was done, we move on to the next one, which was Jimmy's and another single release and festival season, and that was all in 2022. And then it was to go on tour for the first time. We went on tour at the back end of 2022 with three brand new singles that we've recorded over COVID,
Mm.
and we never headlined any of them nights. We were always second, even though it was Penzard tour, which is a great way of building up. You're leaving your city for the first time. That is the best possible way of you garnering new followers and new fans. And each goal was achieved, and each little step in the plan exceeded our expectations every single time in terms of how many people were tuning in when we made a release, how many people were coming to the shows. By the time we had to move on from doing 250 caps like Jimmy's because the queues were down the street, which that was brand new to us. And it all comes from like the power of social media, because you get it rammed down your throat that like Instagram and Twitter are all great tools, and say, yeah, I'll get on Twitter, I'll make a Twitter account. But once you know how to use it properly, it's like a weapon. And if you use it properly and to your advantage and you're strategic with it, it just starts snowballing. And we've seen that. I've seen it firsthand now.
How do you use it properly then?
Planning, planning, and taking your time with releases and posts and stuff like that. I mean, we don't get too anal about things, but I think the big one for me is like less is more. Because when I see bands just constantly trying to stay in like the limelight and stay at the forefront of people's attention, I think bands and artists forget that there's not one single human being who likes music and only likes one artist. If there's a fan of music, they've probably got five favorite artists that they all follow and look out for every day. So it makes sense for you to kind of dip in and out the limelight and fluctuate. And to me, that became evident with social media, because although we'd make all the content and stuff on Instagram and Twitter look good, there'd be no um there'd be no panic on staying. Oh no, we've not posted in a week. Get it out there. Get anything out there. Do you know what I mean?
That's a really clever way of looking at it, really, because when I see bands that try and put something out all the time, and they don't realize that you could end up annoying people if just and looking quite desperate and looking like you're begging a little bit by being too enthusiastic with that kind of stuff. It is nice when a band fucks off for a bit, and then they come back, and then they're back. You're like, oh yes, they're back.
Yeah.
I've had a nice break. Um,
Well, the,
that's the right word for it. But I mean, they're hungry again when they see something else coming out.
that's just our way of doing it. There really isn't no wrong way of doing it. And I've
Yeah,
seen, there's bands on TikTok and there are bands on Twitter who do constantly post, but it works for them. And that's fine. I found that constantly chasing, like trying to make a bigger thing on this and a bigger thing on that and a bigger splash than this band. You not necessarily annoy people, but you lose people's attention because it's
yeah.
like it's that old quantity over quantity and quantity over quality and less is more type thing. And it's worked for us 100%.
It's definitely working, mate. And congratulations on where you are at the minute. So, what's coming up this summer for the Kairos then? Just give us a little overview of what fun you've got coming ahead.
So we're playing Lytham Festival. Like it's Lytham in it up by Blackpool Way, and we're supporting James and Johnny Marr on the main stage, which I'm very excited about because I'm a massive Johnny Marr fan. So is Lewis, to be fair. Um, that's the next one on the 7th of July. Next up after that is Truck and Why Not main stages
Nice.
on before Nolly G. I hope I get a chance to peck his head sometime that weekend. I've seen him before at Bingley backstage, but I didn't have the bottle to go and say something to him. So um, I'll hopefully garner some guts this time. And then I think there's a couple more in August. We've just announced that we're supporting the K's down in Essex Way and Camper Calling again. That was a great festival we've been to 2 years ago. Um, and then after that, a few more announcements to make towards the back end of the year. And the big one, Liverpool O2 Academy. That's the big boy that.
So, have you played? Is this the biggest like capacity in Liverpool you've ever played? This one? What
Yes,
concert is it?
1,200 people that
Wow.
room holds.
Now
And
then.
that's been on sale since around April time. And it's moving nicely, and we've got big plans for that show. And I won't harp on too much because I know every band comes on here and goes, "Oh, we've got big fucking plans. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." But we have.
But yeah. So, exciting times. So how do you like acclimatize to these bigger stages then as an artist and a band? So, these big stages, they need to be filled somehow. Do you plan ahead for that?
Well, I think our show's quite adaptable in terms of like the equipment we use. Like it does work on the bigger stage. In terms of like mentally preparing yourself to for that moment you go on, like especially and I seem to find that outdoor venues are like it feels like you're just shouting at thin air because it's like it's so open and it feels like the abyss. The first big main stage we'd done outdoors was Camper Calling 2 years ago, and we all walked on and just went, fucking hell, this isn't a bit of us, lads. Like, we are just like imposter syndrome. We're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are we doing here, man? But I do think it's a case of, the nerves, especially a nervous person like me, you use them to your advantage and they kick in. And it's almost like the adrenaline just kind of converts itself into like kinetic energy and you just go then. Once you're two songs in, you're going and your confidence is through the roof. And that's what works for us, I think.
When I were in a band years ago, I always dreamed of playing like one of those big stages. I never did it, but I could always remember just dreaming of just having to go on the drum kit, just at the sound check, just hearing it go out the big fuck off speakers at these big gigs. Have you ever done all like that? Just like like just little things that I'd like to have done, which you
Yeah.
might be able to do. Do you get time
I
to
have
have a little piece of that?
I've sound checked Sam's drums once at a show,
Yeah,
definitely, but not anything like that big, not an outdoors. And I know what you mean because once you hear the crack of that snare drum and it just like reverberates out across the
yeah,
field, it's like,
yeah,
fuck off, I get why they do it now. I
yeah,
get
yeah.
why they go fucking mad doing it.
well, so the big Liverpool gigs, festival season. What's your favorite thing about festival season?
My favorite thing about festival season is, in comparison to playing like a normal headline show or
Yeah.
a support gig, that night is like over and done with in one go. It's fleeting. As great as gigs are, and I've been a gig goer since I was 13, like really fucking young. There's something about a festival, like to me, it's always like if I had the option of going on holiday, like abroad, or going to a festival, I'm at the festival every day of the week because it's like a holiday. It's like a holiday of gigs because it's just, especially the likes of Glastonbury and like Reading and Leeds, and we've done Transmit as well as punters, and you're just there from Wednesday through to the Monday, and it is just the biggest laugh. It is just a laugh, and when you play them, you get free tickets, so
Nice.
you
Yeah.
go and you just have a laugh for a week. It's the best thing.
Are you doing tram lines this year?
No, I don't. I don't. I've never actually been to Samlands. Is that Sheffield?
Yeah, it's my. I'm from Sheffield originally. That's my like go-to festival. I love it because you don't have to sleep in a tent because it's in the city. So you
Is
know,
it in the city centre? Is it?
it's next to Sheffield Wednesday ground in Hillsborough Park. But there's no camping there for it.
Oh, right.
And it's got the Fringe Festival around it in the city centre, like a separate kind of thing. So there's a lot of bands.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can, I just like nipping in, seeing new bands, and seeing the big boys and that kind of stuff. But
No, not been
it's
invited, lad, but love to. Love to
one
play
day.
in Sheffield. Good few times. We've always had a good reception in
Yeah.
Sheffield. So
Oh, nice, nice. So, other than festival season and all these exciting things that are happening, how are you feeling about it all? Just like how do you reflect on the last couple of years where it just seems to have gone?
lucky. We talk about it quite a bit as a group of mates. Like I think it's important to remind yourself how lucky we are to be in this position and all the little happy accidents that do come with it. Like the fact that we can make the time as 23-year olds to go to a practice room every night and write, and the fact that we've got this love for this thing that is pretty fucking unconditional and is never ever going away. Like we've fallen in love with it now, and it is a slog and it's expensive and it's hard. Like, but it's just this burning passion that we are so lucky to have, and even more so, other people love what we're doing, and that's a very important thing to remember for me. I think so. We talk about it quite a bit.
Well said, mate. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the next chapter in the Kairos, career. How would you like to say a little something to the fans of the Kairos that might be watching this? What would
Yeah,
what would you say to those kids now?
if there's anyone listening who has bought a ticket to our show, listened to us, or spent 5 minutes with us chatting to us anywhere, you know, thank you so much for believing in this as much as we do, because it just doesn't happen without any of you lot, and it means the world to us, and we're always thinking of you.
And new tunes brewing. There's always new tunes brewing for a band, isn't there? Maybe. Oh, say no more. Say no more. Okay, fair enough. We'll tease
That's
that.
for me to know and you to guess, Carl.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, you're a band. You're gonna always gonna have new tunes. It's not like a big reach, is it?
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
All right, fair
You know.
enough. Why is it hard work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just asking you. You'd say you'd like to think so that you'd have new tunes coming out. Are you frustrated with? Are you frustrated in any way with that? I'm just reading, probably reading note.
Oh no, not at all. If anything, got them coming at me fucking asshole, mate. They are
Oh,
sounding amazing.
nice, nice.
But all in due course.
Yes. Okay. Well,
Don't you worry.
I'll let you get off, mate. You can get back to your living your life. So Tom, thanks for joining us for this.
Thank you, Carl. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you
Thank
too,
you.
pal. I'm sure I'll see you out and about, and I'll put a pint in front of you one day too. And always, for the people listening to this podcast or watching it, wherever you are, in the link in the description, you can get yourself a ticket for Liverpool. There'll be a link to the band. Stream them, get involved, buy a t-shirt, do whatever you need to do. Um, Tom, mate, thanks for joining us. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I wish you and the lads all the best, mate. Nice one. Have
Been
a
a pleasure, Carl. Nice one.
Cheers, pal.